Okay. Hello. So my name is Leanna Franco, and I think that we should have foreign studies as being mandatory for all K-12 studies throughout in the U.S. So actually, let me take it a little bit back. Who here has taken a language course before? So I'm sure everyone has because it's required, right? But out of all of you guys, do you actually remember those languages that you've studied? Can you actually have a conversation with a person that fluently speaks it? Right? So it's weird how it is required, but at the same time, we don't, like, why is it required if we're not even going to be able to use it? So I wanted to speak about how foreign language studies should be implemented more at a younger age, so that we have, so we can kind of use it for the future, because it gives us a lot of benefits, not only academically, but mentally, culturally, and so much more. So I myself, I'm a bilingual student, and I've actually attempted to learn Spanish. I've tried learning a little bit of Korean and Chinese. See, I'm trying to learn as much languages as I can because I find it to be very interesting. And also at the same time, it makes you more, it gives you a deeper understanding of the world and different cultures. So far, at least, having this kind of understanding with language, it's helped me communicate and have certain demeanors when it comes to approaching someone of a different culture and whatnot. And as of right now in education, it's been kind of an ongoing debate, but it's never really, let's say, emphasized. It's been an ongoing thing, like talking about, should it be mandatory or should it not be? And I think we all can agree that language is very important, but we just kind of think that it's very difficult to learn, so we kind of just push it off. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how it affects us mentally, culturally, and economically. Okay, so this is kind of just a chart showing of how many, the percentages of the students enrolled in language courses other than English throughout the United States. And as you can see, it's like pretty bland at some areas, and then we have darker ones, which shows a higher percentage of students enrolled. And actually, in today's world, English is the fourth language that's spoken in the world, right? And this is just kind of like an infographic to see the, to see how much or which one has the highest population of which languages that are spoken, such as Chinese is number 1, the second one is Hindu, and then the third one is Spanish, and then finally it's English. So why are we emphasizing more on learning English and not the rest of the other languages, right? So here are just some benefits on why kids should learn another language. It's for better communication, cultural awareness, better math skills, and so on. The list literally goes on and on and on. So let's talk about it mentally. So learning two languages at the same time at an early age really has a lot of benefits. One is like it exercises your brain, right? It helps you focus in class. And according to a study at George Mason University, they said that attendance is improved, there's less behavioral problems, and there's more parent involvement when a student is learning 2 languages at the same time. Also, it slows down cognitive aging. So obviously we're talking about kids right now, but as you grow on, you should also think about how learning more basically helps you for the future, right? So a research in York University in Toronto said that students have greater cognitive flexibility. Learning 2 languages at the same time enhances the ability to deal with conflict and so on. And another study said that bilingualism delays the onset of dementia and quickens the recovery after the stroke. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that we should start early on learning these languages. It's for the future, right? And lastly, to talk about the mental benefits is it also helps with retaining more information. Now, if you're let's say like back when you were a kid, learning 2 languages, if you think about it now, it seems very complex. It's complicated. How could you learn 2 languages at the same time? but actually having a general idea on how the language works, which is called metalinguistic awareness, it kind of takes away your being biased onto another language. Having this kind of familiarity, if you have English as your first language and you're studying another language, you start to ignore patterns. And that's kind of important when you're learning two different languages at the same time, because if you aren't completely biased onto one language, you are like decoding sentences here and there and certain vocabulary, and which just exercises your brain. And now, let's go ahead and move on to culturally, because having a mental, or exercising your brain to really understand these patterns not only affects us mentally, but also culturally when you're picking up social cues and also understanding different lifestyles and different backgrounds. So basically, one of the reasons why it helps us culturally is that it helps remove language barrier, and it is known to have improvements in empathy, and it also removes fear and distrust to other people, and have also more patience with other people. Like, if you see yourself talking to a person who doesn't really know English that well, some of you may be quite impatient, and some of you realize that, you know what, they're learning English, so you should be a little bit more patient with it. So people who are studying two languages at the same time have this kind of understanding more towards other people who are learning a new language, let's say English, right? Another reason is that, or another benefit is that it liberalizes one's experience with the world. So again, it makes you appreciate cultural diversity. Learning different languages as a younger student, it literally opens your eyes to different cultures. They share with you other, like, music, art, and different politics. It just provides you with more positive attitudes with certain things and less prejudice. And lastly, let's talk about it economically, which is probably one of the biggest benefits you would think that having two different languages under your skill set would give you, is that in our growing global society, it's really a high demand now, like being bilingual. Everyone's searching for people, for employees who have more skill sets and da-da-da-da. But one of the biggest things is that you get paid more if you have another language under your skill set. A study by University of Florida said that bilingual workers earn approximately $7,000 more annually than people who only have one language under their skill set. And at the same time, there's more open jobs for people who are bilingual. And especially if you don't have a bachelor's degree, there's, in 2015, it said that 60% of jobs were open for people who are bilingual, even if you don't have your bachelor's degree. And these listings raised from 2010 to all the way to 2015 now was, well, not 2015 now, but it used to be 240,000 job openings, and now it's over roughly 630,000 job openings for people who are bilingual and doesn't necessarily have a degree. So basically, as you can see, that having more languages under your skill set is very important. It not only affects you mentally, but it affects you all the way around throughout your life. And in conclusion, I guess, I can't do this right now. It will help us for as long as we live. Many people don't really think about language as the most important thing, but it only takes practice, just like with any other thing, right? If you're teaching a dog how to roll over, or you're just using a new camera for the first time, it all takes practice. And why not learn a new language when you can, right? I don't know. That's it. Thank you.